Hi, this is Carrie Brownstein.
This is DJ Premier.
This is Darren Aronofsky.
You got the RZA right here.
Rose McGowan.
Radiohead.
Aisha Tyler.
Tribe Called Quest.
Fred Armisen.
Prince Paul.
Javier Munoz. Seth Meyers.
Frankie Cosmos.
Flying Lotus.
Hi, we're Chaim, and you're listening to the Talkhouse Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Talkhouse Podcast. I'm Josh Modell. On this week's episode, we've got a pair of singer-songwriters who've taken interesting names for what are essentially solo ventures. Kevin Sullivan, aka Field Medic, and Kristian Matsson, better known as the tallest man on Earth. Now, Matsson has been making music as the tallest man since about 2006, winning fans both with his largely spared Bob Dylan-like songs and his incredibly forceful live shows. Though he's from Sweden, Matsson is definitely influenced by the American folk tradition, especially on his early records like the classic 2008 debut Shallow Grave. He's since released a handful of excellent albums, and in this conversation with Kevin Sullivan, he dropped some hints about a new one that he's really excited about that's going to be released in 2023. In the meantime, the tallest man on Earth just released his first all-covers album, and though he downplays it a little bit in this chat, it's actually really amazing. It's called Too Late for Edelweiss, and on it he covers songs written by everyone from Hank Williams to Bon Iver. Check out a little bit of his version of The National's Pink Rabbits right here.
I'm so surprised you wanna dance with me now. I was just getting used to living life without you around. I'm so surprised you wanna dance with me now. You always said I held you way too high off the ground.
Kevin Patrick Sullivan, who records under the name Field Medic, has long been known for a pretty Spartan approach to recording. Most of his songs have been made super simply, in the folk tradition, but with decidedly modern subject matter. For his upcoming fifth album, which has the deliciously long title, Grow Your Hair Long If You're Wanting to See Something That You Can Change, Sullivan decided to grow his sonic palette and bring in a producer. His confessional, put it all out there lyrics are still fully intact, of course. Field Medic will take these songs out for a headlining tour that features a full band this fall, a first for Sullivan. Check out a little bit of the latest single from the new album. This one's called I Think About You All the Time.
I created a life for us, a life inside my mind. I think about you often, think about you all the time. I think about you all the time.
This is a fun conversation given that these guys don't really know each other too well, but they're quick to connect. Tallest Man was clearly an influence on Field Medic's sound, and we get to hear about a long ago interaction between the two that did not, I repeat, did not involve marijuana. They also chat about finding inspiration when it's gone missing, about the wonder of the Milli Vanilli story, and about which of them wanted to be Bob Dylan in high school and which wanted to be Lou Reed. Enjoy.
Hey, Kevin.
Yo, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. It's where are you in the world?
I'm in Los Angeles. How about yourself?
I'm in Sweden, so it's not morning here. It's 6:05 in the evening.
I saw you were playing Hardly Strictly. I thought you might be in SF, but I think that's next week.
Yeah, it's next week. I'm flying to the States on Sunday. I'm going to do a little road trip, and then I'm going to end up in SF. Do you live in LA?
I live in LA, but I used to live in San Francisco.
Oh.
So Hardly Strictly is like one of my favorite festivals. I used to busk outside that festival, and busking outside of that festival was some sort of crazy chain reaction that led to my label hearing my music. So I have a special warm spot for that fest.
It's very cool. So you're from the Bay Area?
Yeah, I grew up in a place called San Jose.
Yeah.
And then went straight to San Francisco when I graduated high school.
I was just there this spring on tour. We did a bunch of nights at the Great American.
Oh, dude, that's the best venue.
Yeah, love that place. And now I'm coming back. What are you doing these days?
I just can't stop making tracks. I have an album coming out in October, about to go on a big tour next month, my first headline tour.
Wow.
I've done a couple little headlines, but this is like a full month. I'm the one renting the van kind of thing. Bringing a band for the first time. I used to tour. I've been touring solo for the last 7 years. So yeah, and then in the meantime, just trying to learn how the computers work because I recorded all my old stuff on cassettes and live recording. Actually, based off your recommendation, I met you one time in Santa Cruz in 2010 outside of a show at this place called the Brookdale Lodge.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like a haunted place in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
I remember that. Were you the guy who gave me a bunch of weed?
No, I didn't give you weed. I think this is worse. I gave you a CD. My brother got me tickets to the show for my birthday, and we were walking into the venue, and you were just standing out there.
Yeah.
And then I started asking you a bunch of questions, like, have you ever met Fiona Reagan? How do you play guitar so fast?
Still haven't met Fiona Reagan. Damn it.
Love that guy.
Yeah, so good.
But I was asking you about recording, and you were like, sometimes I just record, just put up a mic and just play the song. I don't like headphones. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that because I knew that they used to do that back in the good old days, but we had been recording my brother and I's other project, multi-track. And then once you said that, that's just what I started doing up until this very last album that I multi-tracked. So thanks for that bit of advice.
Wow. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm happy you did that. I'd love to record like that, but I've just recorded, not just, I've been working on it for this in sessions this whole year. I very much multi-tracked a big album. I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I have an album coming out in April next year that is just kind of like it's my album because I just play with a lot of people, but a lot of it is live and just like bam, so just a lot of tracks. It's kind of far away from the tape recorders, but I mean, I can't walk around with this computer. We should see how many tape recorders there are in this house. It's ridiculous. And in the studio out there, I'm a hoarder of those things. Sometimes I record with like bad tape on purpose.
Oh yeah.
And then you have to like listen to the take to see where the dropouts are, so they're not important words.
Mm-hmm. When I make like a lo-fi recording, I start to worry that if I listen to it too much, it's just going to start degrading. So I have to bounce it to the computer. There's nothing better than just pressing the record button on a tape recorder and then just playing the song a couple times, and then your work is done.
I love the tactileness of it. Like you actually like the sound it makes, like clunk when it starts. But then I focus so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now I've gotten better at focusing even when I can do retakes, but I don't like to record myself anymore. I do it, but I like to work with other people. They could just tell me to just like stop, because otherwise I could just do too many takes. But with the tape, you just like, I know I can't do it forever. So I focus so much better. I sing better. I play better.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit in a similar vein. Once I started doing solo stuff, I didn't have a computer or a smartphone, and my friend Carlos loaned me his like Tascam Porta 02.
Yeah.
And so I just had one SM58 and a bunch of cassettes, and I liked that. And it just sounds cool, like right away. There's no EQing or anything on that. So when I started hearing my songs that I was recording that way, I was like, oh, this is all I need. I don't need to mix it. I don't need a computer. I don't need anything fancy. I was super anti-technology for a long time too, not in like a conspiracy theorist way, but I was very I was like one of those guys that like wore Ray-Bans inside in high school because I was so obsessed with Bob Dylan. So even into my later early 20s, I was super like folky guy. I just liked the way that it felt to be not using technology at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some impatience as well. But luckily, it took me this long though to be able to just work with a computer and accept that maybe I could do a vocal take over and it wouldn't lose the magic.
So wow, so in high school you were Bob Dylan.
Do you remember like emo acoustic MySpace music? I don't know if it was an offshoot of pop punk or something, but it was just super like whiny acoustic MySpace music about like breaking up and stuff.
I get emo when you say MySpace. I miss MySpace. Oh my God.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay. When I started with MySpace, it was all the freak folk. Like that was my MySpace. But sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I got introduced to acoustic music through that genre.
Yeah. And
then I discovered Bob Dylan and Joni Mitchell and John Prine. And I was like, okay, I'm all in on this real folk stuff. I just had that phase where I was so addicted to that style of music and just wanted to live within it so much. And I think that carried over into, just a fascination with analog stuff, which still remains, but there's a part of me that has been like assimilated a little bit into the here and now. But it's also been several years since that time.
It's so great to not be 16 still. I feel that, but I do. Yeah. But I love that when you just immerse yourself in the whole thing. I still love Bob Dylan so much, but at my high school, I was Lou Reed, walking around my leather jacket. And the last high school I went to was like a music program I went to. And it was, God bless them. I love them, but there was like what with so many like sports musicians, like there was just like played like really fast progressive metal, and was kind of it was this bad vibe of just like it was like competitive music, and I was like fuck that, and I started listening to Skip James and retune my guitars, and then lots of underground, and because I came from like garage rock, that's what I started to play in bands, and I just did that. It's like, I'm not going to be like you. I'm going to be like this. I borrowed so many CDs from the library. Our library had like a great CD collection. So I just like went there and borrowed CDs. And it was also in my life that around that time was beautiful when the MP3 blogs.
Oh yeah. So good.
Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it was just so narrow, some of them. And you just downloaded, careless what happened to your computer. You just downloaded like weird RAR files and zip files, and we were both probably annoying around that time, but it's
for sure.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful thing, and I get nostalgic talking about it.
Yeah, I think you just reminded me of getting CDs from the library. I used to love to just go to the library and just pick out CDs just based on if they look cool, essentially.
I did this, yeah, and then it's like, what is this? And it's like, my life's an open book. It's like, it's fucking Emmylou Harris Wrecking Ball. I didn't know who Emmylou Harris was.
And you wind up like listening to the whole album too, because I just had like a little stereo CD player, so I put it in, and I don't even know what it is. One of the best experiences I had with that was finding an album by Jens Lekman.
Oh wow, yeah.
Night Falls Over Cortadella. The cover of that album is so cool, and I put it on, and I was like, this music is so weird, and it's so like beautiful and amazing, and I've been a fan ever since, and I miss those days so much. Just random CDs, full album listening, no phones or streaming, any of that stuff.
I like the streaming because you can find everything, but then my little brain doesn't work when it's just too much to choose from. But just yesterday I went to this really good flea market here that has this guy who sells vinyl, and I bought like 6 records. And in my house, if I blast the stereo system in the room, in the middle room, to play it so loud so you can't stand in front of the speakers, then it will sound amazing in the kitchen and upstairs where my little bedroom is. So it's just, yeah, listening to full records is great.
It seems like we've both, we're past that stage of anti-technology or whatever, and we have to interface with the game or whatever. Like, how do you find space to just go full songwriter mode, block out the noise? Are you able to just blast your record and stay off the web for days at a time? Or what do you do to get back to that sacred headspace?
I'm very weak for towards this. I'm holding up my phone right now.
Yeah.
You can't hear it. It's like I feel like I am just there's not where I go offline for days, but I try to do it all the time every day. And I have instruments everywhere. Here's a mandolin that I have here on my kitchen couch, and I'm on the spectrum for sure. And I do a lot of things at the same time. I find the moments all the time during a day. I can be vacuuming my living room. That doesn't happen that often, but I vacuum and I walk past the piano. It's like, oh, and I sit by the piano. I'm just going to play something. And then a couple of hours disappear. I find, I have a luxury life of this. I don't have to go to a day job right now. I find the moments throughout the day in every day, and I do zone out, and I do little tricks. I put this background on my phone, something that will remind me to just put it down.
What's an example of that? I might need to use that for myself.
Well, now it's just, I'm falling madly in love with a woman. So I just, I'm very new in a relationship. So I just have a picture of her, and then I just,
love that.
I know it's lame, but no, it's not lame. It's
no, my
great.
background is my girlfriend. So
yeah, no, it's amazing. So I'll just pick up the phone and there she's I don't care about anything. I was put this down. And then I go and do things. I don't know. It's stupid stuff like that. Just to try to trick myself into not end up watching weird Russians falling down a hill or something.
Yeah, it's just so easy. It's so entertaining, and you can go anywhere with it. I'm like kind of creative in the same way as you, sort of like in like a spontaneous burst kind of way. I might have an idea for a song going, and then I'm just booping around doing whatever all day. And then at 1 minute, I just come in here. This is like my little studio, and start writing a little part. And then I might get up and like smoke a cig and take a walk, and then come back to it 3 hours later. I think that's also why the like live recording is attractive, if one does have like that kind of spontaneous creativity, because you just, sit down and record for like 40 minutes and then you're just done. Then you come back and listen the next day.
But do you record a lot? Like, do you record like demos of stuff and like ideas?
Back in the lo-fi days, the final released recordings were the quote unquote demos. There was no demos. But now that I'm kind of learning about a computer, I'm sort of interested in like MIDI, and just when you go from only being able to play guitar and sing to thinking like, dude, I could make a crazy song with 1 million tracks right now if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of following the muse right now. I'm like really interested in like new wave music. That's always been another favorite genre of mine. So finally being able to have those crazy like gated snares.
What bands?
I love like New Edition is one of my old, I don't know if that's even considered new wave, but like wacky, just wacky sounding like 80s music. New Edition.
Awesome.
I really love Milli Vanilli. I think more so for their steez, but I like,
wow,
I'm so invested in their story that I just love it.
I know very little about it.
It's actually a really tragic story. There's a really good full interview with one of them on this YouTube thing called Vlad TV, but there's these two German model guys, and this producer approaches them and says like, do you guys want to become this artist group? We'll make you famous and give you all this money or something. And they say, yeah. But somebody else that's not them is composing all the music and singing the music.
Wow.
And they won't let them sing, even though like the singing parts aren't really that difficult. And they put out their first single, and for some reason it just like goes huge. They win like a Grammy. They're winning all these awards, and they're starting to have this identity crisis. And they're like, okay, for the next record, can we just like sing the songs at least? And they're like, no.
Oh.
So then from what I understand is that then they were telling their producer, like, if you don't let us do the singing, like we're going to quit or something. And so then he actually like doxed them himself and outed them as not actually being the artist behind the sound that they're hearing. And I feel like if that happened nowadays, people would be like, whatever, I don't care. But back then it was like they were totally ostracized. Like, they were stripped of all their awards, and like they had to like stay inside for like a year because people were like mad at them.
My God.
But what people don't understand is like Milli Vanilli is just their aesthetic was so sick that it's not even really about the music. So it's a crazy story.
Okay, I'm so curious now.
But yeah, I just love that sound. Like recently I've been listening to New Shoes a lot.
Yeah.
I just love just super wacky sounds. I love like absurdity in music. And so I'm trying to make something truly absurd and fun.
Amazing.
Because a lot of my music is pretty emo and dark.
But are you comfortable with just like making any kind of music, or like just follow whatever you love?
I was a little bit nervous. My new record that's about to come out is a little bit more HD because it's like multi-tracked and stuff, but it's still in the wheelhouse of like acoustic stuff. But if I feel like the new wave songs that I'm making, I start to wonder, should I start a side project or something? Like it's so different because it's not even like lo-fi new wave. It's like fully like all MIDI. I have a secret side project that's like more like rap music. So I'm just kind of like, maybe I could put it out there. But no, I guess my answer to your question is I'm nervous if I change the steez up too much, what the people will do. Or not even like what the people will do, but just that there's almost like this idea that the catalog has this feeling that I would hate if there was a record that was so different. Like say somebody was like on a date or something and they're shuffling through the catalog, and then the new wave album comes on and it's like, whoa, we were just about to like share our first kiss and now this wacky new wave music is on. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous, but I'm trying to be brave.
I can't tell you what to like. I can tell you what I think. I'm just like, no, don't do a side project. Just do it. But I hear you. I think about that a lot. I've been humbled for a long time, and I think like my new songs are better. And then like whenever anyone go to Spotify, they have to like listen to like a singing goat, like the most popular tracks from like because my first albums are so like that. So I don't know. I've been, I've had a lot of progress in mental health and just being grounded in my of just like relaxing. It doesn't really matter. And I think it's really interesting to see when people have like just in the same, I haven't done it much, but I mean, you will hear if you want to hear, I'll send you my album that's coming out.
Oh, I would love that.
I'm very, very happy about it. And, there's going to be some people that are annoyed with it and some people are going to love it. So that's just how it is. I'm not going to talk about what you're going to do. I have to just follow what's the most fun and exciting, because I feel sometimes I sit in the studio and I have like, oh, this is a great song. This is great. I mean, people will really like this. The sound, this is kind of like, and then as soon as I hear myself thinking that, the whole thing just dies, because like, why would I ever do? And I have this thing with songs now that it's so strange. I'm writing a song and I feel like a little ashamed. Like, this is stupid. Like, but I love it. Like, but this is stupid. I can't, like, what will people think of this? And then like, when I hear that thought, I know, like, wow, you're on the right track, because it's just not being like some kind of YouTube dude mindfulness crap. But like, it's that's my like 2 cents of mindfulness. That's just like the ego is just afraid. It's afraid of what you're trying to do. They want to be comfortable, want to do the same thing. I just went and saw the David Bowie documentary. He says, like, when you have to feel, when you feel like you're a little out of your comfort zone, when you feel like you're just, your feet's not really touching the bottom, you're like kind of like you're a little too deep waters. That's where we need to be. And yeah, it sounds amazing, because you've nailed it's so beautiful. Like your lo-fi, if we call it lo-fi sounds, to me, it's just like beautify sounds, but like you've nailed that. But just like, I want to encourage you, just do your thing.
I feel like the tracks that you're the most embarrassed to release are like the most important ones.
Yeah.
And like embarrassed because you're just like, people like, this is such a silly little idea. But when you're making it, you're like, woo, I'm in it. This is sort of like deep niche question, but I feel like when I'm making music that I really like, my feet and like legs start jiggling. Like when I'm writing a song that I'm really feeling, like my feet just can't stay still. And that's my like secret sign. My antenna goes up.
That's amazing. That means you like disconnected and started to dance. I get some kind of, I don't get the feet dancing. I get more like I'm like bending over the instrument I'm playing and just kind of like leaning into the instrument.
Yeah,
and just like,
you're becoming one.
Yeah, and kind of like, and also playing it 1,000 times after, like when you're done with this, playing the song, start over again, and you do it over and over, because it's, it feels, I've just stopped listening to my new album.
Mm-hmm.
It was mastered recently, but I have to like this feeling when you're done with something you really love. And I mean, people out there that are hearing this, it sounds ridiculous, but like, then I think it's the best thing in the whole world at that point, because you've just made something that didn't exist before, of something you really wanted to happen. And then I just listen to it on repeat, and I just like, I get the dopamine, I get the endorphins. Then I hit a point where just like, I hear it's my voice, and it's like I back off from it, and now I'm working on something else. But it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time when you fall in love with your, what you just created, because it's so, I don't know. Do you ever have times when you can't write, when it's hard?
Oof, the sort of listening on loop moment is so great, until that point where you're just like, God, I can never listen to this ever again. Then I won't listen to it for like a year.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I get like late at night, I'm like, I got to make sure that album I just put out last year was actually chill. And I'll listen for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, all right, it's fine. But yeah, I think there's definitely been times where I don't write, and it's emo. When the window is not open, it's very emo. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like the way that I make sense of the world around me, is to be able to talk about it and be in control of my feelings in some capacity through the song. So when I'm having ultimate writer's block, sometimes I just force myself to write songs. Like I'm going to write a song every day until, this happens. And obviously they're not all good, but it's like, I don't even think songs are like meant to be good. I think that as long as songs are just as long as song is true, it's good to me. So just, even if it's just strumming one chord and just moaning about how deep and disillusioned and despair I am, I think that's like a win. So yeah, I try to force myself, but it's sad. What do you like to do when you're in the no song zone?
Same thing. I just play and write songs anyway. And just because I mean, also playing instruments to me and just singing, it's kind of like I'm not on any medications but it's just like I think it's a beautiful thing that works for me. I'm not going to say this would work for anyone else, but just like it really helps me to sidestep. It's like, for me, it's like same with meditation.
Yeah.
Stuff sound like no, I'm not going to excuse myself. Meditation is fucking awesome. It's hard looping thoughts, and I feel so good playing instruments. So I just do that, and when songs is not coming, I'm playing other people's songs. I play other people's songs, and I play my ideas. And right now, I switch around. I have like a little. I'm just really into playing like pedal steel at one point, and I'm really into playing piano. And I just like it feels like some luxury in life. And I justify it with just like I want to get better at my instruments, and I want to learn new things. And I play music that is just like far off from what the stuff that I'm releasing. So I do that. I just keep on. It was Tom Waits, is another one of my heroes. You said something like you can't just wait for inspiration. You have to put yourself in the place where inspiration can hit you.
What you're saying about how it's like the only thing that stops the looping thoughts, that's exactly the same for me too. If I'm ever getting majorly spooked out, which is semi-frequently, I have to admit, if I just pick up the guitar and start singing, or even just singing to myself, that's been the remedy that I've known since I was a teenager. Like when stuff starts getting real, or at least feels like it's real, it's always just been music that helps me quiet my mind and just sort of rearrange those things. So yeah, that's just making me think that there was definitely periods where I think I wasn't writing songs, and I also was maybe so deep in the trenches of doom that I wasn't playing even. And now I'm starting to wonder if I had just picked up that banjo, if maybe it would have started to sparkle some sunshine in. So I'm going to keep that in mind, to just think of the instrument too, because I always think of like the lyrics first or something for some reason. So sometimes I haven't been in like shred mode recently, guitar shred mode, but I do love to shred. And I will say, you shred hard.
No,
you shred, just admit it.
Well, I want to go back to one thing you were saying, that you said a song doesn't have to be good. It just has to be a song.
Yeah.
We grew up in the same, internet music industry, and where everything is supposed to be like the next song is supposed to be the next great, content single. I mean, I'm sounding like an old man now, but everything has to have a purpose now, and like it has to be a concept, and it has to be the message of something, of like it's to be important. When I start thinking like that, it kills so much of the inspiration. I'm in a place where I have had a pretty successful career for a long time, and this is a really comfortable life. I'm like, what if I release this shit, that will take away my comfortable life? But that moment, I could just like burn my guitars, because it just, then if I think like that, I won't make anything that I would be happy with.
Yeah.
I can't fake a song. I mean, I've written like fake. I've written Where Did My Bluebird Fly 2 and 3 and 4. And just like when I hear I'm doing that, I'm just like, get off, get away from me. Because like, it's just, it's a safety. So I was really that's inspiring to hear you say like it doesn't have to be, it's just a fucking song.
Yeah.
Sorry
it's just
for my language.
I struggle with all the same things that you were just mentioning, like starting to think about it, or even having the blueprint. I have a blueprint of a style of song that I've written probably like 4, 5, 6 times throughout my discography. And I almost sort of like it. Like I'll be like, I got to do that one kind of song on this album, because it's just almost like a trademark or something. But that was another reason why I wanted to make a more like full band record, because I felt like everything was just sounding like blueprint Field Medic song. You got to like stretch the comfort zone and also just keep it real and not worry about it being a hit or something. I was just talking to my friend last night about what you were saying about like, we have this now, but what if the next album like tanks and then we lose everything and we can't just chill and write songs all day? So, but it's like, you can't think like that. Like you're saying, you just got to keep going and make songs that matter to you.
Have this like challenge for for my mental health of this release. I just released an album with covers today.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think it's great, but it was an idea. I had like pretty mild with COVID, like when I record. I was just like I had to quarantine, and I recorded these songs, and I think they might be okay, but it's like I it sounds tired because I was tired. That was the only thing. I was just tired for a couple of days, and I decided to record those days. And I'm judging these really hard. It might be good for someone, but it's just like, then the thing you said, it's just songs. It's just record.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna read reviews like, why is he so tired? But also, I have an album that I'm extremely proud of that is going to come out after it.
I heard a few of the singles from that covers album, and I think they sound great, so I wouldn't be worried.
I'm not worried. It's just like it's just it was a new sensation for me. It was just like, I don't really want to talk about this.
Yeah. I tend to get paranoid every time I release an album. I'm having that this is the best album of all time moment up until we're finalizing everything. And then every time I send in the cover art and it's like being pressed on vinyl, I'm like, oh, I think this is the wrong photo. This is bad. And then right when it's about to come out, I'm like, what if it's not good? I think I'm like a chronic worrier or something, but I always suffer from that feeling of this strange, like last minute, like self-doubt, confusion.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get better at that with just, once again, just being like, it is what it is. It's all good.
How do you feel about playing live that you're about to do?
So this is the first time I've gone out with a band, which is really cool because my drummer for the last 7 or 8 years has just been a boombox with a bunch of cassettes that have the beats on it, which has been cool because I just usually hop into the headlining band's van and I can it's very easy. But, playing solo, especially when you're a support, can be sort of a tug of war sometimes, like always trying to win the crowd over. But which is also sort of like a sport that I sort of enjoy.
Yeah, I hear, yeah.
But it's always felt really lonely. Like, when you play a show solo that's like super sick and everybody's excited and you feel so good, and then you step into the back room and there's like no one to high five. And so I'm really excited to be able to have a band. So like if we play a sick show, we can all high five. And also because it's a headline gig, I don't think I need to worry about trying to fight the crowd because I'll assume that they're there for us. So I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous.
Is it all over America?
Yeah. It's all the classic spots.
I said it in old interviews, the thing about high-fiving, because I played solo for so long, and it was 2015 and 16 when I had a band, and much of it was for that reason, because I started to play some really amazing venues around in the world. I remember I was in Australia and I was like, played this amazing place, and I went down to the green room and like my little crew was getting the stuff and I was just there, like there's like no one to it felt super lonely.
It's so emo.
Yeah, so that's why I got a band, and I had amazing camaraderie for those 2 years. Now my crew that I work with, we're kind of a big family, and I really enjoy playing solo. I've gotten a new confidence in it and can run around like a little circus idiot. But now I've recorded an album where I'm going to have a band next year of just like sick players.
When you got that band, you felt the pain lift.
It did. Yes.
Okay, great.
It did. And then you will miss playing solo again because there's that magic of when you have to control a crowd with just your little self. And when it works, it feels so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you can also, it's cool when you're solo because you can just play whatever song you want. Someone's like, hey, play this random song from this random release. And you're like, okay. With the band, it's very rehearsed, And
in whatever tempo. And if you forget the lyrics, you can tweak that verse a little. You can play it for longer. Yeah. So but you should focus on the stuff that's, the positive things of everything. I do miss that, and I'm going to get the next year, like the talk after the show, like, oh, when there's a mistake on a song, and you can kind of like joke with the other, like, yeah, we sucked there, like, what happened there? Like,
yeah, that's giving me heart to hear that I assume that you might have had the same kind of experience, but to hear that it was almost like exactly the same is making me stoked because the lonely road is is weird. I always feel like a traveling salesman. You know what I mean? Like I'm like on a plane just with my guitars. I'm going to, you know, some random place, and it just feels so. I see all these other bands like, yo, we're going to the UK, and there's like 6 of them with all sorts of like wacky luggage in the airport. I'm glad to not have that much wacky luggage, I have to admit. But yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for the band. I
am a just total princess now, and just like on tour buses, and I have like 14 guitars with me on tours. But I remember those years so much of just like catching trains in Germany. Not nostalgic about this if it sounds like I'm nostalgic, because I miss the shows, but I don't miss the blood taste in my mouth trying to catch a train. Yeah, like super hungover, like on public transit with a giant suitcase, 2 guitars, a backpack, all your jackets on because you can't fit them in the suitcase. I'm not romantic about it. Yeah, the shows were fun, but just like I had 2 hard cases, like with 2 guitars with me, and I made like a little strap, connecting the handles, so I could carry that in one hand and then just like running. Ugh. Have you toured in Europe? I did do a tour in Europe, in London, in like 2018, but I haven't been back since. I just remember those band apartments in Germany. What is that? It's just like this band / attic. It's just like they're just so dirty. Yeah. I remember like staying there by myself, like on top of the covers. I mean, now I sound like I'm 100 years old, but yeah, no. Back to the positive thing. It's going to be It's weird. It's weird because you do the shows, and those are so, you know, there's so much adrenaline, and the weird thing about doing a show that I could never explain, that feeling, and then like, boom, you're just like in a rainy city somewhere. Yeah. Now we're sounding like cliches. I'm excited you're in a tour bus. That's next level. We got to check back in a few years from now, because that's my dream, to be able to play, and then you go out and like, you could go to sleep if you want, just there. It's the most beautiful thing. There's a moment after a show when everything is packed up and you sit there with a crew and band in, you have a beer. And that's the best moment when you roll out. It's just, that I can be super nostalgic and sentimental about. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing. And it helps so much, like your physical health and your mental health, and that you sleep while traveling. Because I remember in the beginning when I did like really long tours in America in a van, just me and a tour manager, not even a van, like a what do you call it? Like a minivan. Like a mini van. And I remember I was on this like 7-week tour in America, and it was like the second time going through the desert. And I started to like break down. I started to get panic attacks of just like going through the American desert, and like there's nothing, but there are billboards. So like you get. And that, to me, the image of that, you know, being like there's nothing here, but you can still get like semi-racist billboards and stuff like that. And it started to like break me down. So I built this tent in the back seat so I couldn't see out. So I was just sitting and couldn't see. You're going to be with a friend. So is this a band you played with these people before? They're my friends from here. So we've been practicing these last few months, and we've known each other for a while. So it'll be all good. The panic attack on the road bit just brought me right back. That happens to me. Well, you have a song for it. I do. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that song. I was touring with my friends in this band, The Neighborhood, and me and my friend were driving from like I don't even know, somewhere. But we'd stayed up super late. I was hella drunk. Woke up the next morning, lobby coffee at like 6 a.m. until we left at like 10, and then like 2 hours into the drive, just all the fatigue and the caffeine hit me at once. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you need to pull over. I need to like phone a friend right now. I got to call my friend and who like knows about this. And it's scary when you're out in the middle of who knows where, and and your body starts to try to convince you that you're about to die. Yeah. But look, we survived, bro. We're still here. Yeah, we're still here, and like with every little of those uncomfortable panic rides, I feel like you learn something.
Thanks for listening to the Talkhouse Podcast, and thanks to Kevin Sullivan and Kristian Matsson for chatting. If you like what you heard, please follow Talkhouse on your favorite podcasting platform and social media channels. This episode was produced by Myron Kaplan, and the Talkhouse theme is composed and performed by The Range. See you next time.